flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome everybody here tonight, and Mr. Latchmore, the administrator, will take a roll call. Attendance for the board, please.
Trustee Pelkey. Here. Trustee Menard.
Here.
Trustee Rodriguez. Trustee Arno.
Here.
Mayor Bounty.
Here, thank you. I'm going to open the meeting to the public, and before I do that, I'm going to read the guidelines for public comment. Individuals wishing to speak during public comment period must sign in. Speakers must be recognized by the mayor. Speakers must step to the front of the room. Speakers must give their name, address, and organization they belong to, if any. Speakers must limit their remarks to 5 minutes. Speakers may not yield any remaining time they have to another speaker. Board members may, with the permission of the mayor, interrupt the speaker during their remarks, but only for the purpose of clarification or information. All remarks must be addressed to the board as a body, not to an individual board member. Speakers must observe the commonly accepted rules of courtesy, decorum, dignity, and good taste. Interested parties or their representatives may also address the board by written communication. Now I will open it up to the public, and the first name I have on the list is Mrs. Pat Paquette.
Patricia Burkett, 32 Woodhaven Drive. I'm here in my role as a member of the Village Library Board.
Okay.
We've been back and forth with this last year, caused quite a kerfuffle with the village administrator of the day. So I talked to Mr. Latchmore about this before it came up. Juneteenth is been recognized as a federal holiday and also a New York State holiday. The library board has voted to close the library on the Monday, it falls on a Sunday this year, has voted to close the library on the Monday in recognition of this holiday. So the president of the library board is Mary O'Connor. She couldn't be here tonight. Naturally, I volunteered to come. And I told her that I would just speak up about this. Mary wrote to Chris to let him know that this was coming down the pike because it's going to be...
I'm familiar with the letter that was sent to the administrator.
Oh, that's good. So there's one thing that Chris says in his response, and not unreasonably, he says, since the employees at the library are part of the village payroll, it is deemed right and justified that the library must follow the approved holidays. And he's given us the reference materials. The thing is, and this is kind of weird, but it's been researched before, the library is not a village department. The library is a public library, it's an independent entity. Mayor Letourneau back in the day researched this for the then president of the library board, Mr.
Can I just stop you for a second?
Yeah.
What mayor, is it Mr. Dan Letourneau
Yeah.
or Leo Letourneau you referred to?
Dan, sorry.
Okay.
I didn't live here when Leo was,
Okay.
so Dan's my neighbor, so for me, Mr. Letourneau is always Dan. So the library is not considered a department of the municipality that chartered it. It is a separate entity. Because municipality provides support to the library, does not give it the power to control any aspect of the operations. So vacation and sick leave, there's a list of references that I have that was prepared by the Nassau Library System for the state of New York, saying it's the library board which determines vacation, sick leave benefits. So the library has the authority to declare a holiday. So the purpose of giving the heads up was to try to get this resolved before Juneteenth happens, because the library board has voted to give that day as a holiday and to close the library.
Do you know what they did last year under the prior administration?
Last year it was kind of fudged, to be honest with you.
And what do you mean by fudged?
It fell on a Saturday. The person who was going to be given a holiday didn't come in. The librarian came in and replaced that person. It was just a couple of hours on a Saturday, so she said, I'll just do it and let's not worry about anything.
Okay.
This year the librarian also works part-time, and Paulson is our librarian, library director actually. She said, there's no problem, Monday's my day to work usually, so I just won't work Monday, the library will be closed, I'll work a different day. So she won't take a paid holiday, she'll just rearrange her schedule. Now again, in my view, that's a bit fudging the issue. Sooner or later, we have to come to grips with this, and that's why I'm here tonight, to see if we can't have this explored further. I mean, Mr. Latrimore's answer, as far as I was concerned, was not in the least unreasonable, and when I joined the library board, I thought it was like the fire department. It's a village department, so you're subject to village rules, blah, blah.
So, and that's the impression I was under, and also, so now you're clarifying something and educating me now too.
It was a big surprise to me to find out that the library is not a village department. So the library board has a lot more authority than we
Do
think.
you know what Mayor Letourneau researched, and he turned
Yeah,
anything over to you?
I have reference, goes back, shall I bring it up to you?
Sure, thank you.
It sort of goes back a couple of years, but he had been confronted with whatever, so he looked into this, and this is what he came up with.
Okay,
And also attached to that is, the second page is the page that has all those references that I talked about. And I can't tell you where all those came from, but it's all the various jurisprudence that talks about what libraries are and aren't.
okay.
I have one other copy, because I just made this at home, my little printers only goes so fast. But I did make a copy for my friend Chris, so he knows what the references are. So I feel like the solution that's been come up with this year is, again, kind of fudging the issue. Sooner or later, we have to realize what's gonna happen. And that's why I wanted to bring it to the attention of the board tonight. I'm not interested in getting into some dispute with the village administration.
And trust me, if what you presented to me is legal and accurate, then I will discuss this with the full board as well as the administrator, and we'll do what's legally entitled and right. And I'm not looking to get in any controversy with you or Mary O'Connell or any, this is not a big issue in my opinion, but we have to do it right, and we have to, if we form a precedent and do something different for one department and not do it for the other, then we're opening a kettle of fish. So the only thing I will tell you is, I will read what you presented to me, I will make some phone calls, and by the next meeting, I'll have a definitive answer for you.
That's perfect. That's what I was hoping to accomplish. For your information, the Plattsburgh Public Library is closed, and they are celebrating Juneteenth. That's a public holiday in Plattsburgh. I called Anne de la Chapelle, the librarian there today. She tells me the whole city is adjusting their paid holidays in order to recognize Juneteenth. Schools are recognizing it, and libraries fall under the Department of Education. So policy-wise, it made sense to me to say that the library is following the Department of Education. Not, in my view, a hill to die on, but we could get it straight.
No, but we have to address this issue sooner or later. We might as well address it now. That way we can go forward in the future and not have any questions on this subject anymore. So all I can tell you is, once again, I will research and read what you've told me, and I will have an answer by the next meeting.
Yes, and the library board, the president of the library board or the librarian, I'm sure would be happy to provide any other information that you're looking for.
Okay, I appreciate your comments. Anyone, the next comment would be Mr. Nicholas Southwick. Please click forward.
Nicholas Southwick, 17 Washington. First of all, can you all hear me?
Yes.
That wasn't my question. I was looking over the board meeting, the tape from April 4th with the mayoral appointments and the wording of replacing Karen Thone with Charmin Burtz. That raised a lot of eyebrows, including mine. Since you can only appoint someone if there's a vacancy, either resignation, removed for cause, or...
Well, back up, Mr. Southwick.
Yes.
The term of two board members, one was Mr. Duffy, who sent us a letter of resignation,
Yes.
and the other was Karen, the mayor's mother, and her term was expired, and it's a mayoral appointment, and it's my decision to reappoint her or appoint someone different. That's the way it's worked,
Yep.
and that's the way it's always worked.
That's what I figured, but the wording, I just wanted clarification on.
No, as you can do all of the research you can, every mayor that's held this position has that sole right to appoint who they want, on any board they want when the term is expired.
But it was the expired term.
Yes.
Exactly.
Perfect, thank
I
you.
can confirm that.
That, she's the chairman of the zoning board, and she can confirm that her,
I just wanted to ask and answer on record.
that's fine.
How's
Any
that?
other questions?
No, it's, I'm glad to meet you for the first time, though.
Okay, glad to
I
meet
didn't
you
meet you
too.
the first time.
Have a good day. Anyone else, not on the list? Then we'll proceed with, the minutes of the May 2nd, regular meeting. Is there anybody on the board that would like to make a change, a revision, or any questions on any of the minutes of that meeting? If there is no questions or revisions necessary, then I need a motion to accept the minutes of the May 2nd meeting.
I make a motion that the minutes be accepted as printed.
All those in favor?
Second. Aye.
Aye. Aye.
And all those opposed? The ayes have it. Bills, Mrs. Pelkey?
Did you get the supplemental list with the 3 additions?
We have, the board, all the board members have it for Great America Financial Services, $430.92. For our, it looks like the copier machine, like $407.41. And New York Power Authority, $82,325.94. For the supplemental list of bills for 5/16 meeting, totals $83,164.27. Does anyone have any questions in regards to what I just read?
Make a motion to pay the bills as amended.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it. Correspondence, any correspondence from the administrator?
We do have a few things for correspondence. First of all, in everybody's packet, I put the letter from the New York State Department of Health in reference to the drinking water project for the new water facility. And in the letter, it indicated that we were not accepted for this grant. But moving forward, there's a reply that I needed to reply to the state by May 13th. And it's basically asking if we wanted to proceed to move forward with the water project with or without the grant. And I told them that we would only consider moving forward with the grant. I don't think the village would be able to financially afford the new water plant without any grant money. So I hope the board is in agreement with my correspondence with the state on that.
I spoke to the administrator with this, and there's no way that without the grant money that this village could financially afford it. We put ourselves into financial problems. So I believe unless somebody on this board differs with that opinion, that was a smart way to send the letter.
Yep. No,
Okay,
it says-
anything else?
Also with this, we're still waiting for the grant that we applied to with Elisa Bonnet as well. And that could be up to a $5 million grant. So we're waiting on that. I would like to just ask Pat a quick question about the library, because I just wanted to get a little bit better sense. For the other public libraries that you're referencing, who controls their budget? Would you know that? Do they have their own budget within themselves, or is the budget through the municipality?
I think they all, to my understanding of the way public libraries work, is they are all allotted a budget, the way we are, by the village, and then it becomes their decision to spend the budget as they see fit.
So their budget is approved by the municipality as well?
I believe so. They do fundraise, some of them do fundraisers as well. I'm not an expert on that, but that's something that Ann Paulson, who has a library degree and knows an awful lot more than I do about libraries and is a member of New York Library Association. She can probably answer all of those questions.
Okay, because I just want to make sure that from what you're providing me is the same for the
I
library
understand.
here versus the other municipalities, that,
Yeah, the question is whether you're an association library or a New York State Public Library. That's the distinction.
Yeah, I would say that's what we're looking at right there. There has to be a separation there somewhere. Anything else, Mr. Latchmore?
that's all that I have. Oh, the other thing I wanted to bring up as well is, I received a letter today from Mr. Roberts in reference to the Montgomery Hose Hook and Ladder Company. The letter's dated April 12th, and we received it on May 16th, and it's a reference to the mayor appointments for the fire department.
Yes.
And what I wanted to address is that the board did receive correspondence from Chief Mike LeBlanc, and he sent me an email on April the 11th acknowledging the new elected officers for the Fire Advisory Board, the delegate, the alternate for EMS, the delegate and the alternate, and also who the fire chief was, the first assistant and the second assistant. I actually had noted that to the board for the meeting on April 18th, and Mayor LeBounty made the appointment of the people that were elected into office. And I notified the Clinton County Office of EMS on April the 19th because it's required that we notify the Clinton County Office of Emergency Services by May 1st. So all that was done, and just to let everybody know that the Fire Advisory Board delegate is Mike LeBlanc, the alternate is Morris Snide, the EMS board delegate is Walt Laramie, and the delegate alternate would be Julie Kirby, and for the fire chief it was Mike LeBlanc, the first assistant is Maurice Snide, and second chief is John Rodriguez, and John has already taken his oath of office. He did that about 3 weeks ago. So I just wanted to do some
There's
clarity.
not a problem with any questions on the appointment, is that?
I think there was a question as far as the fire department didn't believe that the board received the notice of the appointees. for the
Well,
mayoral
I can
appointment.
remember you having a list of my minutes that I had to read off at the meeting, and I can remember reading the names of the appointees that were chosen by the members of the fire department themselves.
Correct. So I just want to make sure that everybody understands that that's been done
Okay,
and complied with.
thank you. Anything else, Mr. Latchmore?
That's it, thank you.
Under the reports, I will say, for me, I'd like to thank two people. One would be the administrator, Mr. Latchmore, and the other is the former mayor, George Rivers. We were able to make a few phone calls through IEP and help the Sportsman's Club receive some money for installing lights. And Mr. Latchmore, I don't have the exact figure, but you remember what that was?
It was approximately $2,200.
And that was for their high energy or high efficiency lights, is that
We're
correct?
doing LED lighting inside the building, and it was 4 of the street lights outside for the Sportsman's Club as well.
I think, once again, I just want to publicly acknowledge the work you and Mr. Rivers put into it. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Mr. Arnold, do you have anything you want to say?
The library steps are being worked on, and the cement is being poured on them. They look pretty good so far. And I'd like to thank the village crew for putting up the banners, the military banners. They did a good job putting them up. And also a very special thank you to Shar Sample and her committee for a nice job, well done. They're talk of the town and flags. And also the fire department breakfast, May 22nd, from 9 to noon, all you can eat. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, Mr. Menard, Trustee Menard, do you have anything you want to say?
Just I'd like to echo Mr. Arnold's sentiments. I would like to thank Shar Sample. The banners look great. It's a very nice honor for the veterans, and they look beautiful. I want to thank the village crew for putting them up, and I'd also like to thank the village crew for cleaning the streets. They did a nice job in the cleanup a couple weeks ago, and that's it.
Thank you. Trustee Pelkey, do you have anything you want to say?
Yes, I had a meeting with the water and the wastewater superintendent about the water plant and the wastewater plant. operations are normal. We're working on a couple different projects with the engineers of the waste dumping that was happening down at the boat launch. So we're still working on that. We're waiting for the DEC to get back to us. But all the engineering is done on it. The second thing I have is there is one, for the vacation time that has to be used up by June 1st. Most people have complied because of like the rec center, the public works, the electric department, the water plant, they all have enough help to cover the shifts. The problem that we're having is in the office. Mr. Lattimore is been very busy working on projects that we all have assigned him. The girls in the front office are limited on when they can take their vacations have been denied because of the sickness that's going around. So I would like to see us extend for 30 days for them to use their vacation, their 2022 vacation, extend it another 30 days rather than use it up by June 1st, because they are in a predicament. And
I'll
if-
second that.
if we would have let them take their vacation, it would have been probably possibility that the office would be closed.
Okay,
And
understood. Anybody has any discussion? If not, I need a motion for what Mr. Pelkey is just.
I'll make that a motion, that we extend it 30 days.
Is 30 days gonna be enough?
yeah, it's like 4 days that they had to take up, and one of them was supposed to be off today and tomorrow, and they couldn't take it. And I think it's only like 4 days that they have to use up. But they shouldn't be, they shouldn't lose it because.
No, they
Under
shouldn't
the
lose it,
circum-
but I think
Right,
trustee
under
Bernard has a good point, based on, the lack of help and the sickness and the projects that we've got going on within the village. Is 30 days, gonna be enough? You think that'll be enough for you,
We
Mr.
could
Lattimore?
extend it.
Mrs. Pelkey, would that be enough for you to
45
use up
days.
your time? Then I think then we'll go with the 30 days. Mr. Trustee Arnold put it in the form of a motion to extend that for 30 days. I need a second.
I'll second.
Roll call vote, Mr. Lattimore?
Trustee Pelkey,
Aye.
trustee Menard,
Aye.
trustee Arno,
Aye.
and Mayor LaBounty.
Aye. Motion is passed. We've extended the time for the above-mentioned employees, additional 30 days to use up their time so they won't lose it. Anything else, Mr. Pelkey?
The last thing I have is, the ramp is back on the boat launch, on the dock, so people are happy that they can launch their boats and be able to get on the docks, and that was all taken care of, so. And again, like the rest of the board says, the banners look really nice throughout the village. And it brings back a lot of memories of people that served and people that unfortunately passed, and it brings their memories in our thoughts when we drive by and see the faces and the picture, what they did and who they served for. I think it was an excellent program. And like they said, for Shar and the committee, they did an excellent job. Very good job. Thank you.
Can I just add something on that? The village is not liable for any liability for people turning their head looking at the banners driving down the road. It's like they're getting complaints, they're getting distracted, so.
I know, they do catch your eye. I mean, they did a very nice job.
Yeah.
Thank you, Trustee Pelkey. Other reports? Do we have any other reports, Mr. Administrator?
No, we don't.
Okay. And we don't have any executive session, anything to go into executive session that I'm aware of. And before I close, Ms. Paquette, I will make sure that you have an answer in the next meeting.
Mr. Cooper?
Mr. Cooper, would you please stand so everybody sees you and recognizes you, Mr. Cooper?
The only thing I have to report is, yes, my permits are finally picking up. The only holdback we're having now, of course, is the price of material, which everybody's aware of. I have a lot of letters out there. If anybody is watching this, they should know that the letters and the time frame for me to issue court appearances is coming up. There's a few that are out there are very negatively on this thing. We've been chasing some of these people for years. But as soon as we get that squared away, and we will, because we've got Mr. Lattimore on board here, and of course, as under the mayor, is quite familiar with all this, so it's gonna be a better year for me to operate.
Good.
Thank you. That is the way to go, Mr. Cooper, because if we knock on the door, with normal reaction to people, they're not gonna answer the door for the code officer. So the next thing we do is send a letter, that way they're put on notice that they have a legal problem, and if they fail to address that letter, then we will pursue it even further, so the property owners that do maintain their property are not subject to somebody who doesn't wanna maintain their property and make it look like hell. And I don't blame any property owner that complains that their property is, they're living next to somebody that's got a junk full yard. And as long as you keep that up, we're gonna be on the same page. Thank you, Mr. Cooper.
So, there's one other thing, John, Mr. Mayor, the fact is, you know, we have, what I refer to as absentee landlords here, and I have some trouble getting, we're using their, I have Patty's give me we're building the sewer and water too, but some of the people have, other addresses up in Montreal. I've been working on chasing them down a little bit, but that's probably gonna be, there's only 4 or 5 of them right now. That may be a problem in the future.
Well,
Because
there
they haven't
is,
been down in 2 years.
there is a remedy to certain problems. When I was a judge in Champlain, I spoke to the mayor in Champlain, and we had some discussions on people who didn't maintain their property as far as cutting their grass. That we talked at length, and the village board in Champlain passed that they would go in and cut it and charge them a certain amount of money and put it against their village taxes. So there is always a remedy, that's a possibility. I'm not saying that's the only thing we're dealing with, but when you run into a problem, the administrator or myself, you should bring it into the discussion. Do not hold anything back and not make us aware of it. As long as the administrator knows what you're doing, and the administrator will tell the mayor what's going on, and then we're all on the same page to make sure that everything is being done according to code.
That's the way we should be doing it anyway.
Thank you. Since we don't have any executive session,
I
do we
make a
have
motion, we adjourn.
second on that?
Second.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for attending.